Good evening, welcome back. It is 6:05 p.m. and we are ready to begin our workshop session. The first item on our workshop session is an update on Fulton County Schools from Mr. William Pastor, Coordinator of Architecture, Engineering, and Capital Programs. Mr. Pastor will present a final design briefing on the middle college construction project. But we have a number of special guests this evening.
Yes, you do.
President of the Fulton County School Board, Kimberly Dove, our District 3, Representative Katie Gregory. We've got Dr. Seals here as well. There are so many people here talking about this exciting project. We are so happy to have you this evening. I'm turning the floor over to you.
Thank you. It's so good to see everyone here. It's been a while since Fulton County Schools has been in front of this council, and we're excited today to bring to you an update on the middle college. We've worked really hard on this project. I am Kimberly Dove, and I represent parts of College Park, and my colleague here, Ms. Katie Gregory, also represents the other part of College Park. But our board has changed a bit, and I wanted to take that opportunity to share that with you as well. 4 of our board members retired last year. So we have 4 new board members. So I have the pleasure of serving with 6 amazing leaders who are strong and care for all children. And so now I'll bring over my colleague, Ms. Gregory, to just introduce herself and say a few words.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us. I just want to say hello. I am Katie Gregory. I replaced Gail Dean after she retired, so I was appointed. My first board meeting was January, so I'm still a little new and learning all of the exciting projects, but happy to be on the board. I live in Hayville and have been there for about 15 years, so we are just down the street, and the family and I enjoy all of the stuff that the Tri-Cities have to offer. So I'm excited to now be a part of the school system in a broader way. So thank you.
And one other thing I wanted to mention is that this is graduation week for us, and we're excited to have 6 of our graduations at the College Park Arena, and wanted to just thank you guys for your foresight there. And now we'll turn it over to our illustrious principal, Dr. Jason Stanford.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Again, I'm Jason Stamper, principal of Middle College, and I want to share with you all this evening some of the exciting updates that have been birthed for Middle College from our wonderful partnership with Atlanta Technical College, and I'll be sharing the academic updates. Thank you. So first, you may wonder why this program is so exciting and unique. As you can see from this slide, we have several things that we offer. First of all, a personalized pathway through graduation as well as college credits at the same time. Secondly, we're preparing students for high wage, high skill, in-demand areas where they can go right from high school into work, but also obtain some college credits, and we'll talk about that in just a second. We developed a partnership, of course, with Atlanta Technical College, and I'm going to ask Dr. Seals to come up after this so she can speak more about the exciting things going on at Atlanta Technical College, but we also have that great partnership going. Next, we've expanded our district portfolio as a whole, and then finally providing relevant programming, and I stress relevant programming for our students, preventing dropout and also enhancing their post-secondary options. So as you can see, Middle College is designed for about 400 students, and those 400 students with a projected opening date of August 2024 will enter into this program and be able to obtain an accelerated career diploma. In the next slide, I'll talk more about our accelerated career diploma. As you can see from this slide, there are 2 options in terms of diplomas in Georgia. You have the traditional diploma, which takes 23 credits, but again, this unique opportunity at Middle College affords students the opportunity to get what's called an accelerated career diploma, which is 9 credits. After these 9 credits, students will be able to go right into that career field, getting those TCCs, which enables them to, and I'll talk about those specific fields, get those skill sets, and again, in those high skill, high wage, high demand areas. If you can go to the next slide. So these are the TCCs that we spoke about. As you can see, we have 9 total. 6 will be at the Middle College campus here in College Park, and the other 3 will be directly on ATC's campus. And those are, of course, the cybersecurity, digital media, production technology, early childhood, welding, and logistics at the College Park building. And then on ATC campus, we'll have automotive, diesel equipment, and avionic technology. So these are our priorities, and we're very specific about our priorities. We're very deliberate about our priorities. We're very intentional about our priorities. And they are quite simple: student success, student retention, student graduation, and student preparedness. Our students will be the very best at what they do, and again, it is strengthened greatly by our partnership with Atlanta Technical College. Next, we have birthed from those priorities is those opportunities in middle college that are strengthened by those priorities. And the first, we'll have work-based learning, internships and apprenticeships, but also that will make the students career ready. From that, obviously our students will be able to obtain technical certificates or an associate's degree from Atlanta Technical College. But what's most exciting about this, and we want to be sure that we are communicating this to our students, parents, and also to you all, if students decide, hey, I want to stay and get my associate's degree, they can stay and get a 4-year degree after that. That 4-year degree obviously puts them ahead of the game. They'll come out with a high school diploma as well as those TCCs as well, or the associate's degree, but they'll be ahead of their academic peers that went through the traditional route because they've been involved with the dual enrollment program. So this slide here is our context. So you'll see the first QR code and the link that follows is an interest survey that we're using to engage parents and our families right now. Secondly, we have an email that's dedicated to parents and students to reach out to us with questions and more information. And then finally, we have the Middle College website that is established. It has a plethora of information there, from videos, from student testimonials, as well as just information about our partnership, dual enrollment program, and an accelerated career diploma. And we have here our timeline. As you can see, construction began this month in May. Next, we're going through what's called the Middle College naming. It's not going to be called Middle College once the official naming goes through. A committee has been established, and that committee will suggest the name through a 2-week process or a 2-meeting process to our board, and the projected adoption date will be on our June 15 board meeting. Next, we'll have a face-to-face meet and greet for our elected officials and constituents on June the 16th. That'll be at Atlanta Technical College, and that'll be immediately followed by our business advisory board or business advisory meeting immediately following that at 10 o'clock a.m. Next, we have our community meetings that I'll be going out directly into the community towards the end of June, early July. So again, with the sole purpose of educating families, students about the wonderful things and opportunities at Middle College. Want to be very specific and inundate people with information, so there is no ambiguity within that. And then finally, our projected opening date is August 2024, right here in College Park. So I'm going to ask at this time Dr. Seals, President of Atlanta Technical College, to come up and address us at this time.
Good evening, Mayor Broom. It's good to see you as always. Council
Good evening.
members, again, thank you for having us. This is an exciting initiative and partnership with Fulton County Schools. It's been in the making for at least 3 years now. So, excuse me, as we get closer to the launch, we're really excited about it. I also wanted to share at Atlanta Technical College, as you know, we serve Fulton and Clayton counties. And so as we look to do more and more for the South Side, this is, again, one of our primary initiatives, along with a couple other things that the state has put in place over the past couple of years around dual enrollment, but also around the dual achievement program. So we're just providing options for all of our students. Again, I don't see technical education as an or statement. It's definitely an and, it's a proposition in terms of those students who need to go on to get a 4-year degree. We have great partnerships that allow them to do that in a seamless way so that they're not wasting time or money when it comes to repeating credits. At Atlanta Technical College, we serve over 5,000 students a year, everything from GED preparation up through the associate's degree. And with the major focus really being on workforce development and economic mobility. So we're preparing students to really come out and to be able to make those livable wages. The majority of our students come from households earning less than $25,000 a year. After as little as one semester, sometimes 1 year, they're able to earn anywhere from $55,000 to $60,000. And this is how we are doing our part to really change the game when it comes to economic mobility. In front of you, you do have a copy of our latest annual report. Again, I'd love for you to become acclimated with it. If you have any questions, if you want to come to the campus, I welcome the opportunity to talk more about how we can support your vision and mission as you continue to lead College Park. Again, we have a 99% job placement rate at the college. So again, our overall mission and goal is to make sure that we're providing those opportunities for individuals, families, and communities to be elevated, particularly through economic mobility and the various career pathways that we provide. Again, I would love to answer any questions at your time, but thank you again for allowing us this opportunity to present to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I believe we've got.
Thank you. I'm going to at this time ask our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Noel Malou, to give construction updates. Thank you all again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Motley Groom and council members, it is nice to see you all in person this time. I think the last time we met, we were all still virtual. So thank you for the opportunity to give you guys an update and bring this wonderful project to the city of College Park. As you can see on our slide here, we have a beautiful rendering of what the building will look like once we're done from the front. But I wanted to walk you through a little bit on the design update. And so I'm Bill Pastor tonight for the group. So if you look at this first slide, this will be our site plan. And if you look at the site plan, you'll see the existing main building. That's the older 1940s building that really brings that historic piece to College Park. We'll be doing a major renovation there. We'll keep the integrity of the architecture as we do this renovation. Also, you'll see where we've got our parking lot slated to go, so we do keep some green space for the students, but we also bring on enough parking for the staff and the needs that we'll have with ATC. We'll be bringing on a number of ATC staff directly to the program, so that's going to be pretty important to have that space for them. This is an exciting renovation, and it's not just a normal let's go in and look at a school to put some new paint on the walls and put some new fixtures up. This is real, all the way back to the studs, as they say, specialized renovation for this program, and we're really excited to be able to provide this for our students. So if we go to the next slide, what you'll start to see is, again, I had them do a little elevation. It's a little easier to look at in the 3D rendering here. What you'll start to see is we're really going to focus in on a college-style looking building. This won't look just like an old high school that's been updated. If we go to the next slide, you'll start to see how we've got the building laid out a little bit, and I'll just kind of walk you through. This is the first floor of the main building, and we'll be locating a lot of the administrative services as well as some of the common spaces where you would go if you're a parent or a prospective student to the school. That'll all be located on the front where the former media center was. Off to the right as you come in, and you'll see it in a beige box, this is pretty exciting space. This is where students will be able to present to groups. They'll be able to set up almost like showcases for their work. And it's a really nice common space right as you come back into the building. This is actually harking back to the beginnings of the building, which this was the original auditorium and stage for the school. Going down the hall, we have, again, the administration for Fulton County will be on the front of the building, and then going down the hall, we have a number of rooms for the administration of the ATC staff, and that moves into some of our career tech spaces. So right in that old building, we've got our career tech spaces that will focus in on design and visual arts and our other ancillary CTAE. Across the way in our newer building, you'll see in yellow, that is our early childhood program. So we'll be keeping that online, and continuing to provide that early childhood learning certificate and education with our students in that pathway, as well as continuing to serve our young ones. We'll go to the next slide. So this brings us to the upper level. One of the things that you heard Dr. Stamper talk about is the academic core that the kids will get on their diploma. So when you talk about the 4 cores, the reading, writing, arithmetic piece of our education, those stay in place, those 9 credits there. And that's where we'll do all of this work. Is upstairs we'll have our English and our math and our science classes. We're actually keeping intact some of our science labs that we had up there that are in really good shape and will serve our students well. So when you walk upstairs, it feels very academic. It also, on the what would be the south side of this picture, sort of the front of the building, we'll be moving the media center up there. So it'll look out over Main Street. It'll also have study rooms that they can meet small groups with their instructors or themselves to do projects. And it will be a 21st century media center, not just books on the shelf, but all the technology, all the meeting spaces that they need. We move into the lower part of the building, and this is where we bring in the welding piece, which is a very specialized lab, along with cybersecurity, avionics, and some of the others in the tech world. And we're really excited to be able to provide a facility here that the kids are not going to have to go over to ATC for everything that they do. So that's sort of the gist of where we go. Again, we're at May. Today is May 15th. I walked over just to make sure that our general contractor was on site and getting mobilized, and they were already working,
They're there.
which is great. Oh, yes, they are. We had a nice tour around of the building to see some of the demo and things that we've already done to get ready for the construction. As Dr. Stamper talked about, we'll be getting ready for the opening of school for August of '24. So our completion date is July 31st to have everything ready to go, get all the teacher stuff in, and furniture and equipment. August 5th will be the first day of school, so we'll be ready and excited to go, and I'd be glad to take any questions at this point.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
We're so excited about this project.
Yeah.
It is truly incredible and a real opportunity for our community and the entire South Side. So thank you for your investment in us, and we really look forward to this. I will start with Councilman Clay.
Well, again, thank you for being here and updating us on this. I had several questions. First off, refresh my memory on what the overall project cost of this rehab is.
Well, as you know, the overall cost of everything is escalating quite a bit, so it has changed a little bit since we moved into it. We awarded the construction portion of this contract at somewhere around $26 million plus. The overall budget will grow over probably about $30 million, maybe around $32 million plus.
And what I like about it, I've said that it's an investment, it's a long-term investment in the future of our children on the South Side, and the potential is incredible. You mentioned the fact that you have 2 years toward a degree. You can have 2 years toward a degree when you graduate, and you did indicate, or Dr. Seeley did indicate, that you could go on to other schools. You had arrangements with other schools. Let's say that I did come in, and I'm a computer nut anyhow, everybody knows that. So I go in and I get into cybersecurity, and I decide I'd like to go get a computer engineering degree at Georgia Tech. Do you have an arrangement with Georgia Tech? Could I do that?
So I'm going to probably speak a little out of turn, but I know Dr. Seals can answer this well. All of the post-secondary options in Georgia have that tracking to go into any of our Regent schools. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes. So between our 2 systems.
Could you talk into the mic, please?
I apologize. Yes, sir. So we're part of the Technical College System of Georgia, and with our system and the Board of Regents, which is part of Georgia Tech, there are 30 classes that automatically transfer, and then each institution basically negotiates to get a true 2+2. We don't have that particular one with Georgia Tech, but we do have a lot of 2+2s in place, and I emphasize The
What is
plus-
2 plus 2? Can you explain? 2 plus
Exactly. So the 2 plus 2 associate's degree is 2 years, and then you get another 2 years to get the bachelor's. So 2 plus 2 gives you
Right.
the 4-year, as opposed
So
to.
if I got my 2 years in cyber, learned about computers,
Correct.
got my 2 years, and then I wanted to go to Georgia Tech, and I met the requirements to get into Georgia Tech
Right.
at that point, could I do it?
You can do it. Georgia
But it
Tech-
might not be 2 years.
it
I
might-
might have
it
to
might
spend
be
3 years.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, well, I can understand that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the last question I had was insulation. Yeah, you're the right guy for that one.
I'm the installation guy. I can do a little of the instruction, but I'm the installation.
You know that we're close to the airport, and obviously, I'm hoping that you're planning to put a lot into insulation as far as making the building as green as possible, so saving on energy costs. Are you also going to be considering some of the potential noise from the airport?
Yes. Well, fortunately for us, we've been operating a school there for quite a long time, so we're very familiar with what our needs are there in terms of noise dampening. But yes, we will be insulating. We'll have both from a sustainability and the green perspective, as well as making sure our kids have a good environment to learn in. So yes, sir, we're in a good place with that. And that building's a big old concrete bunker, so that really helps us get ahead of it.
Well, there's a lot of brick there, right?
It's mostly cast in place concrete.
Mostly cast
Mostly cast in
concrete.
place, yeah.
So you'll be pretty good on the high
We're in good
frequency
shape on that,
noise.
for sure. But yeah, it'll be a nice facility and it'll provide our kids a really good environment.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That's all I had.
Excellent. Thank you.
Councilman Carn?
Thank y'all so much for coming out. Dr. Strayer, your real reputation obviously precedes itself, so we're glad to have you on board, and hate to see you leaving. It's Banneker, right? Yes, sir. Right. I know I was there when the last time I saw you was at the Union City, the Union City State, and so I hope they'll be replacing you with someone strong as well coming in there. Half of our kids at Banneker, I think the other half are Tri-Cities. I think some at Westlake. I think some of College Park's kids are at Westlake, aren't they? Because I know some of us have kids at Camp Creek Middle School, but do we go as far as Westlake, or is it just Banneker and Tri-Cities? Banneker, okay. All right, a couple of questions I have. So the level of the certifications, you said they were equal to the first 2 years, or essentially an associate's degree level, technically speaking. Is that kind of with the certs?
So what they'll get as part of the middle college are the first 2 technical certificates. Most of the time, those 2 certificates with some additional general education courses can then lead into the associate's degree.
Okay, so that merges with a kid coming in, let's say, that doesn't have their high school diploma. Let's say they do the full 4 years at the campus. They could come out with a high school diploma and a 2-year certification, or would it be a high school diploma and an associate level certification?
So the certificates are not at the associate level, so at the college, we do what we call a stackable credentials model.
Okay.
So 2 certificates will begin that stacking process.
Okay.
Then with some additional general education courses, those 3 components together would make an associate's degree.
I got you. So all they would have to do coming out at year 4 is get some additional general education.
courses, yes.
Could they go back to they would have to come to Atlanta Area Tech to get the additional general education, or could they get it at McClarin?
They could take it, so the dual enrollment is actually available even during the summer. So a student who's really motivated and took dual enrollment classes with Atlanta Technical College during the summer could finish the high school graduating with a diploma and with an associate's degree. So that's a possibility with a high school diploma. Similar to a lot of high schools, we were at the arena on Saturday with our graduation, and we had about close to 100 high school students who were finishing this year with a high school diploma and were completing an associate's degree with us.
That's good, because I'm thinking in my head, if a kid is doing well there
Correct.
and the environment's working and whatnot, well, let's,
Let 'em
if there's a
finish it.
route where, hey, you can stay here, get your full 2-year associate's degree on top of your certification
Yes.
and on top of your high school diploma while you're here, and just one
Yeah,
stop.
So the only thing about that, once they graduate high school, they're adults,
Right.
and we don't let adults go back into high school for
Oh,
college
right.
classes.
So
Now,
that-
we do have online classes where they could, take those in an online setting and still, be here in the neighborhood.
Okay, so the option would be to go online or go to
Or
your
the main
campus.
or to our ATC South campus,
Okay.
that's right down 85 as well, depending on where they live.
Okay, that sounds good. And the level of certification for, like, let's say cybersecurity or welding, I don't know, I mean, is there a welding standard that says,
Yes.
here's the standard for welding, here's the standard for cybersecurity
Correct.
or for logistics?
Yes, sir. So all of those are, there are industry credentials associated with those certificates and those industries. And so, like, if you stay with welding, our program is AWS certified. And so when the students complete those certificates, they could sit for that industry credential as well.
So they don't need anything else?
No, sir,
Yeah,
they're
that's-
ready to go to work, and we help them do that.
That's good to know. Okay, all right. The middle college concept, now, that's not gonna replace the open campus model altogether, is it? Or
So, no, the middle college concept will be birthed, obviously, in the 24 school year. For all of our, if you consider the old school, we just call open campus, which was McClarin. They're in our high schools now. It's called in-school academies. Each high school has their own individual name, but for all intents and purposes, those students are in our high schools, like Banneker has a program, Westlake, Tri-Cities, Creekside, and Langston Hughes has our own students. So it's a school within the school where they're able to get those additional credits that they need.
okay, so each high school now has a smaller version of what McClarin
Correct.
was?
Correct, and they're called
Okay.
in-school academies. So
Okay.
our district funds its own counselor for that program, teachers for that program, and it's a program within the school, the current school.
Okay, I got you. So no kid would come to McClarin for open campus?
Correct.
Got it. Okay, that answers that question. The other thing I understand that in terms of enrollment, some type of a lottery system or something y'all had in mind for enrolling kids, or is it first come, first serve, or how's it gonna look in terms of getting the,
We definitely will have we will not have a lot.
no lottery? Okay,
So it's an application process, just like, in the application process is not so much to cross out students or prohibit students from coming. We want to make sure that we have the right student, because it's not open campus, and there is a GPA requirement for doing dual enrollment. And I want to continue to express, we're running a high school and a college simultaneously. We want to make sure those students have that. It's not saying that students have to have a 4.0 GPA, even a 3.0 GPA, but it's the right type of student that they're able to matriculate through that program with success.
right, well, we want it to be successful, so we wanna make it clear, so we have an understanding when we tell our kids about it, it's not open campus.
Correct.
That way they understand this is a step up, and this is where you can take it up a notch here. One of the things I would like to see is if College Park students could have some type of preferred enrollment opportunity. I'd really like to see that. I mean, for reasons which are obvious, not just because you're located here, but we've paid in, 32 years partnering with you guys. So if we can come up with something where our students would get some type of a preference, obviously, I'm sure our kids and parents would appreciate that if that's possible. So if there's some kind of way we can come up with something, I'd like to talk about that, and see if we can come up with something. Again, not necessarily filling it up with College Park kids, but I'd like some, if we can do some slots reserved or come up with something along those lines that give our kids, to make sure that those kids in our communities that want to get in, that meet the credentials, aren't going to be, knocked out by kids from other communities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Councilman Carn. I think one of the things that we're focused on with this program in general is just making sure that we get the kids there. And I'm pretty confident that we got plenty of slots for not only our kids here in College Park that we can identify, but all over South Fulton, hopefully. So we want to really get kids in there. We've got a great pipeline, and we're building it for enough that I can guarantee you we'll have plenty of space.
Okay, and I also understand that enrollment's gonna start, someone told me from August to November. Was I hearing that right, or
You talking about the application?
application process?
Yeah, so we'll start this September,
September?
and we'll go through usually our magnet program applications come out in October-ish timeframe or maybe November. But we want to start early because, again, we have to have our counselors identify the students in terms of their reviewing their transcripts, making sure students are in prime position to, again, take advantage and be successful in their program. And they don't have to be 3.0, 4.0 students to be accepted. It's just that they have to be on the track to be successful. We will have a lot of support for them because, again, it is a high school student that's taking college courses.
Right,
And oftentimes, or 3 times out of 9, they'll be on Atlanta Technical College's campus, and we want to make sure they represent their very best.
Well, I mean, it's advanced placement, essentially. Yeah, I get it. So it's important. I'm assuming you all have a public information officer of some sort or another. Getting word out in College Park a lot of times is difficult to the kids that need it the most. We're working on getting a full list of all of our community residents, and particularly the residents in our apartment communities, because we want to try to make sure we figure out a way to partner with our public information office to get word to the kids and young people that may want to participate. But your person can probably explain it a lot better as we go through the fall and the end of the year.
I would love to partner with you all on that. That's one thing. I've been a part of this community for over 20 years between East Point and College Park. And my thing is going into the community. So if it's a pipeline that you all can create for myself, my team to get in, I would love to partner with the families of College Park and just be boots on the ground, answering any questions from a face-to-face standpoint, from a online standpoint, and I think both ways are effective. So again, I would love to partner with you all.
Yeah, I think all of us between now and the end of the year are going to have several community meetings individually in all of our wards. So it's going to be something we want to get the information, or a simple one page that explains the process where everybody can understand it. Okay, last couple of things I got. I know there's been some issues with Parks and Recreation in terms of access to the gymnasium. Now, my understanding is that, and I think they're going to speak a little bit more on that, and that's something that I think we need. McClarin is a crucial part of our Parks and Recreation program. It always has been, and in essence, without access to that gymnasium, our program is hampered. So we want to figure out. I know you all have been talking around doing a new user agreement, and we want to make sure that that's going to happen so that we have access to the gymnasium to do what Parks and Rec needs to do, and they're going to give you information on that. Last thing I'll say, I want it to be clear. I have always been a proponent for this program. I've always wanted to see this program. I worked with Dr. Woodley for many, many years, and I think this really takes the school up a notch. Now, we had some interest in doing some optional partnering in terms of some shared site and property and whatever have you, but we're not looking at that. We're going to move forward, but either way, we were looking forward to doing the school. At no point did we not want the program. I think that's something that we all agreed on. We were looking at some options, but we're moving forward with the option that's on the table, which is McClarin and the Middle College campus. So I just want to make that clear for the record, that we're all excited that you're here. We think it's a big benefit to the community, so thank y'all.
Thank you.
Councilman Allen?
Oh, okay. First of all, I want to thank Ms. Dove for being here. You're around everywhere, so thank you very much for coming here tonight. And we talk about partnerships and partnerships between Atlanta Area Tech and the school. We definitely would like to be, in my opinion, be part of that partnership and work with you any way we possibly can. So I've been here since '94, and for many years we've talked about McClarin and what can be done with McClarin, and can we go here, there, and the school's old, and what's happening. But I never envisioned anything this good. I mean, y'all have come up with a plan that is perfect. The partnerships that you two have is going to be great for kids in our area and the whole South Side. I just think this is a fantastic program, and I can see it expanding, and I can see other areas trying to get involved at all, and you'll have people knocking at your door saying, can we partner with you? So I think there's so many good things about this program. I'm just looking forward to it. I can't wait till the doors open, and I think it's great. So thank you very, very much for all the work you've done into it, and I appreciate it. So
Thank you.
Councilman Gay?
My questions have all been answered. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the one thing I did not see on the timeline was the appointment of Principal Stamper, which is just genius. So excited for you to be a part of this project. Your commitment to the South Side, your commitment to our students is unparalleled, and I just can't wait to see what you do next, and right next door. It's so exciting, and Dr. Seals, you're a national treasure, and it really is the next level. This is how we are going to have kids in our community walk out and be ready and prepared to contribute to our workforce immediately. When we talk about our area median income being lower than average, it's because our workforce isn't trained to do the things that we need them to do in this area. You're filling that need. This is going to be a generational shift for us. And I, for one, could not be more excited about this partnership. So thank you to the Fulton County School Board. Thank you to Atlanta Tech. Thank you to the entire community for supporting this, for embracing this. And I know that we're going to work on the agreement for the gym, correct?
We have already met with your staff, and we will continue to do that. And this coming fall, we will put all of our MOUs together and get that over to you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we've got to keep on moving. But thank you so much for coming this evening, and we just look forward to August 2024. Thank you. Have a great evening.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is also important. It is Property and Casualty Brokerage Services. Good evening, Dr. Baker. How
Good
are
evening.
you?
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Hey, Dwight.
Dr. Baker.
Dr.
Councilman
Baker.
Carr. Thank you so much.
Good
I
evening,
appreciate
Doctor.
that. Yes, sir. I'm here they are here rather, to present a presentation on casualty and brokerage property. Let me start over. Casualty and Property Brokerage Services. We solicited an RFP a few months ago, and we had a panel committee that sat on interviews, and we would like to recommend Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services as our broker for our RFP brokerage services. And they're going to do a short presentation and tell you about their company, what they can offer the city, and what next steps are.
Thank you, Dr. Baker.
Thank you for having us this afternoon. It was great to hear about the progress you were doing earlier at the school. It's great. So we're here representing Gallagher. We are the largest public entity broker in the country, as well as retail brokerage firm in Georgia.
Sir, I apologize for the interruption. Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, that was where I was going next. Yes,
Okay.
Thank you. So my name is Scott Thomason, and I'm the practice leader for Gallagher for the Southeast region for public sector business. Public sector is schools, cities, counties, and anything that pays taxes, any governmental entity. So with me today, I have my colleagues, Matt Simmons, who is the director for Georgia, and I have Daniel Duhart, who is with me as well. And he works with a firm that we're contracting with to provide risk management services. So briefly, the Gallagher commercial is, we are large, but we're innovative. We reinvest into our practice group. We have about 10,000 public entities insured around the country. Here locally, we have the city of Hapeville, city of Roswell, city of Dublin, Atlanta Public Schools, Atlanta Housing Authority, Gwinnett County, Fulton County, Cobb County Convention Center and the Authority, as well as a lot of others. And so we bring to the table a modern risk management approach. And what we mean by that is risk management is about avoidance, risk reduction, and transfer. Transfer is the purchase of insurance. It's the last thing you want to do is buy insurance. So what we propose to do is to work with staff on education, risk profile improvement, in ways that we can reduce your total cost of risk. Next slide, please. And we do that through data-driven information. Because of the client base that we have a lot of information about what are the expected level losses we should be having a city of our size. What is the right type of insurance that we should have? So we leverage that information to provide recommendations as well as utilizing our experience. I have over 25 years experience with Georgia municipalities, and we leverage that in terms of utilizing the immunity protections that we have, but buying insurance where we think we might have some exposure that we don't want to take the risk on ourselves. Cyber risk management, we have a very aggressive risk management plan that we propose for the city. Next slide. In our market access, we have about $1.4 billion of premium in our public sector, and that means that we have a wide array of markets that we represent and we bring to the table for our risk management accounts. You're not a small city, you're not a jumbo city of Atlanta, but you're very large, and you have options available to you when it comes to what insurance markets want to partner with you. And we bring that whole full stack of different types of markets to the table. And these are some of the testimonials. I wanted to keep it brief. I know not everybody likes to talk about insurance a lot, but we do. This is what we do day in and day out. So that's just a brief overview of Gallagher. Any questions for us?
We will go ahead and start with Councilman Clay.
Well, good evening. Glad you guys are here. In the area of cybersecurity, we got fairly involved and spun up several years ago, fortunately, a year before we had a cybersecurity incident. So thanks to the training that Mr. Hicks had and some of our other people, we were able to keep our outage very, very short. What in that area do you do beyond probably what we're doing now? And I know that's a difficult question because you don't know exactly what we're doing now, but I mean, we do have assistance with cybersecurity issues externally. So what do you bring to the table in the cybersecurity area?
Great question. I'm going to yield to Mr. Simmons, who's actually our cyber expert.
Thank you, Councilman Clay. As Scott said, my name is Matt Simmons. In the area of cyber risk management, we're not an IT firm, so kind of dispel that piece right there. Our focus is really on more of the risk management side of it, auditing what your controls are that are in place, working with you to understand what are best practices, especially in the view of the insurance marketplace. One of the key components also is leveraging internal resources. Gallagher has a cyber risk management practice group within it where we have resources ranging from modeling what your actual exposures are in terms of if you did have an incident, we can model what those numbers are and what those costs look like, all the way down to understanding the right market partner for the City of College Park because of the resources that are available out there. But the simplest answer of it is we don't do the IT implementation perspective. It's to take the risk management consulting approach and identify here are potential gaps, here are areas that other municipalities are finding exposure, and here are the best things that you can do to better protect yourself. You know, insurance, as I like to tell everybody, is a reactive mechanism. You know, claim happens, pays out, but the risk management is that proactive, ongoing review, discussion with the IT department, discussion with your vendors to ensure that you are, we can benchmark you as secure as possible when we look at similar entities, and also prepare you from an insurance perspective for what the carriers are looking for.
So if you're trying to assess our risk in the cybersecurity area, how are you able to do that if you don't have someone on staff that has computer expertise?
So I think it's a different, kind of two different things. What we are going to model out for you is what is your exposure from a dollar perspective. We can, what are you buying today? Are you buying enough coverage? Are you not? Running the models on what your actual exposure is out there. Part of that is also helping understand doing an audit of what controls are in place. When I say we're not the IT firm, I'm not going to implement multi-factor authentication in the city of College Park. I don't have the product for that. You go out and you purchase that from a separate vendor. I'm going to work with you. We're going to work with you on the modeling and phishing testing, testing of employees' education throughout to ensure that the city is best prepared in the event of. If we take you on as a broker, you would come in and do some assessment of our vulnerability? Correct.
Okay, but I would think you'd have to have somebody on staff that understood the advantage of multi-factor authentication versus having a token device that you could plug into your computer, USB-A port, for example, and say, yeah, you guys really should be having these USB-A tokens that you can plug in, and don't worry about multi-factor authentication, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't understand how you do that if you don't have somebody that knows what multi-factor authentication is and what the pluses and minuses are of having a token versus not having a token, and whether you use 128-bit encryption or 256-bit encryption, and whether you allow remote access on a private LAN, et cetera, et cetera. How do you have somebody that you contract with to do that?
So we are not technology consultants, but to kind of peel back and answer your question is, we're not here to advise you on certain software is better than others.
Right.
We're going to tell you about what our experience is, what the claims that are happening in the world, what are the new threats that are happening. A lot of what we see is not about the technology, it's about the people. It's the training that you have with your staff, your policies and procedures. And again, we're not technology consultants to look at, well, you need software A versus software B. We can give you some guidance in terms of, what are the underwriters, what do they like to see? Do they want to have that additional encryption or backups or things like that? We do that. We have additional cyber security staff that provides risk management advice. So we're not a technology provider. We are a risk management provider, which we're going to help.
But you do have people that understand.
Yes, we do have people that
multi-factor
understand
authentication and the advantage of 256 versus 128.
Yes, and that's what Mr. Simmons, his role is. He understands technology so that we can interpret from, we have this type of system, this type of procedures in place, and putting it into layman's terms.
Okay, now if we sign up with you guys, how many hours of staff analysis on your part do we get as part of our contractual agreement?
In our agreement, we agree to our risk assessment, our risk quantification, and our general consulting. Again, we're not a technology provider that we're done on an hourly basis. We've priced our services based off of a general account, and that's the thing about risk management is It could be where it could be 2 hours, it could be where it's 12 hours. We have an idea of what our typical account, what the needs are, and what we provide.
Okay.
And we think you're gonna get more value with us than you would have with any other broker. And
Now-
our clients would attest to that.
I talked about cybersecurity because that's an area that I know something about. But we'll have insurance for our police officer, automobile insurance, for example, right? That's going to be part of this package that you're going to broker for us with company A, B, or C.
That's correct.
Okay. So similarly, do you look at what are the best standards for driver training and risk management in that area as well?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, and I don't know, fire insurance and so forth. So,
Right.
so you guys know what others are doing. You know what sort of the Cadillac of your customers is, and you can assess our risk based against those standards.
Correct. We believe in
Okay.
risk quantification
Okay.
and qualification.
The reason I'm asking the tough questions is you were not the lowest bid.
Absolutely. We were not. We are the best value based off of our other client experiences, and our client retention rate is higher than industry average. We are not the cheapest. We don't believe that risk
And I'm
management
not,
should be.
believe me, I'm not
Yeah.
looking for the cheapest.
I know.
either.
That's also my point, is we provide a value based off of, it's trying to avoid having a claim uncovered, or not having the right insurance in place, or not having the right procedure in place that leads to a claim.
Okay.
With our experience, we're going to help identify that and fix it if there are issues.
Okay, thank you. I'm good.
Thank you, Councilman Clay. Councilman Carn?
All right, thank y'all for coming out. I was looking at your packet here, and I guess I want to kind of know some of the history of where this came from. So, Dr. Baker, I guess my first question is, I'm assuming either Dr. Baker or Stanley brought you into the city. What was your initial contact? How did you find your way into our neighborhood? I guess that's the question I want to ask you, more or less.
I've known Dr. Baker for quite a while, having been in the sector, but also Mr. Duhart had some existing relationships with some of your staff, including Dr. Baker.
Okay, got it.
And brought us in to have a meeting.
Okay, because our city manager, Stanley, he's recently started about a month ago with us, so I didn't know if he had brought you in or if this had come from another longer standing relationship. Okay, that answers that question. So there was a RFP for this, Dr.
Yes, sir,
Baker?
it was.
Okay, so where did we previously get that information? Because I didn't see this in my packet in terms of who responded.
It's in the regular session packet.
Okay, that's in the regular session packet. Okay. And this is the recommendation. The risk management services, is that something that we currently don't have in a sense, in terms of what a brokerage outfit to handle
No, so we
that?
currently have risk management services being provided by Apex Insurance. If you remember last year, Apex came before you, and there was a situation with the former city manager, and she brought in a different firm. I took the approach, Apex has been with us at least 13 to 20 years, and I felt that it was time to look at other outfits, and that's why we took it out and got a bid, and ultimately Gallagher won the bid.
Okay,
The recommendation for.
I remember what happened with Apex, so so this is the recommended replacement for Apex?
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I think based on our historical claims and some of the things we've been through over the years, that I believe there's some issues, definitely. I believe that we're often taken advantage of. And I'm sure we wouldn't be the first city, I'd imagine, if you've been doing this for a while. But have there been instances that you could say where we have found out that we were overinsured or underinsured in terms of risk? Have we seen that historically here?
I would say in some instances, and this is just looking at it from a very high level, that we may be paying for coverages that we don't necessarily need.
Okay, all right. And to Ambrose's question, I guess overall, my question would be, without all the long division, What percentage of what you'd be giving us is IT related, I guess you could say, ballpark? I mean, have you kind of assessed essentially what we got here?
We've done a preliminary review.
Okay.
And the cybersecurity part would probably be about, the first year, probably 15-20% of the time. And then would scale down to somewhere between 5 and 10%. A lot of the time is going to be looking at your historical performance, analyzing your claims experience, reviewing your policies and procedures, your current insurance policies, looking at the detail, as well as looking at your property schedule and budget, all these other things.
Okay, so Apex was providing us these same services for somewhere around the same price. Where was Apex's price point compared to the bids that we got in and compared to them?
Apex, for its price point was $75,000.
Just a flat fee per year?
That was a flat fee, but at the same time, we still have to pay for insurance for those various.
Well, we got to buy the insurance.
Yeah, we have to buy the
Yeah,
insurance.
okay,
Is what I'm trying to say.
that.
Yeah,
But
but there was 75, and Gallagher was 140.
So they almost doubled. And the benefit for double is, what are we getting for
More
that double?
innovation, more creativity, better options. I think this organization or this agency will be able to provide education more so for our staff, but also for the city employees around how to mitigate our risk. And I don't think that's happened since I've been here.
So your standard broker contract, in terms of just general terms, is it year to year? What
It would
are
be
they
year to year.
proposing?
Yes, sir, year to year.
With how many options and whose options? Are they mutual options? What's?
I'm not sure if
What
I'm
would we
understanding
be-
your question.
Well, you can have a year-to-year contract, but it can be an automatic renewal with their option, for instance.
Those terms would need to be addressed. We haven't got to that point yet,
Okay.
but that's something that can be discussed.
You all don't have a general boilerplate term that you do with municipalities generally?
We do, we have a standard contract.
What's the norm look like?
The norm in terms of what provisions?
Terms?
It's going to be similar to a professional services agreement?
So year to year,
That's correct.
with mutual options?
Yeah, mutual in what regard?
Well, if the city wants to go to the next year, we decide if, it has to be a
Yes,
mutual
absolutely.
option.
We have some
It's not
that
just a
are-
one-sided option.
We have, yes, they're
Okay.
very mutual.
Okay, that answers that. Last question I had was, okay,
And I want to address one other thing about
Yeah.
the value. It's total cost of risk. It's not your insurance premium. It's total cost of risk, and that includes uninsured losses. And that's something that we want to calculate. In our experience in taking over accounts from other brokers, they would be the ones that would tell you, wow, we didn't know that we didn't have this, or wow, we didn't know that we could do that. That's the wow factor that we're going to bring in terms of enlightenment and education.
okay. And what I was looking for overall is, someone explaining to me how you can quantify the price increase, which again, that doesn't mean that it's not a great idea, but the price increase in terms of quantifying the benefit we get for.
It's my understanding your current broker is paid on commissions.
That's correct.
And so therefore, you're actually going to pay less in broker compensation if you go with Gallagher or Apex in this next year.
So the 75,000 wasn't a flat fee from Apex?
In the prior years, no.
No, in the prior years, no, sir.
Oh, okay, I thought it was.
In the prior years, no, it was added into the cost for our total insurance packet. This year, during the bid process, they gave us an annual fee of $75,000, or quoted an annual fee of $75,000.
Oh, okay. And that's from putting the bid out, I guess.
Yes, sir.
When you put out RFPs, it definitely changes things, and that's always a good idea to put them out. Okay, all right, well, that answers my questions.
Councilman Allen?
Well, Dr. Baker, we talked this afternoon, and I really like the proactive approach. I think you take that approach, you get more buy-in from the people in the city and can help out with accidents and how to prevent those. I just think the buy-in is so much better being proactive than waiting and then being reactive or not responding at all. So the proactive approach, to me, means an awful lot. So I appreciate that, Dr. Baker. Appreciate you always answering questions and getting with me this afternoon. So that's all I had. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Can we please silence the phone or step out? Thank you. Councilman Gay?
I just have two questions. You may have already answered it, but there was interest in doing, covering the cyber. Is that option open for, contractors to join with y'all? I mean, how would they,
In with regards to contractors, in terms of,
cybersecurity?
in terms of the security portion?
Yes.
So that's gonna be a technology service, and that's something that we do not provide.
Understood. So how does those providers, how do we join them, Dr. Baker?
So
talked
we
about it.
we can connect in terms of how we provide oversight from a risk management perspective of when you have technology providers, what are your contract provisions when it comes to indemnity, hold harmless, what kind of insurance requirements do they have? We spent a lot of time in the last 2 years working on modernizing our insurance requirements to service providers, contractors, and independent contractors.
So we're gonna write that separate?
I think correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman Gay, I think what he's asking is, if you have a person or group that is interested in perhaps, bidding services for cybersecurity. Correct.
That's exactly right.
No, absolutely, and thank you for that question. Actually, Gallagher has a network of partners throughout the country that we leverage, and really when it all boils down to everything, it's once we peel back the layers and the onion with your staff, we can help identify who's the right partner to come out of here. You know, we partner with Riskversity and CyberSure, which is part of our Gallagher Connect Partners program. The Connect Partners program is a mission and a program around enlisting MB, WB, minority-owned business enterprises. It's our internal DEI program. So we identify specific partners, and that's one of the top ones that we work with. Lawrence Jones, he's out of Columbus, Ohio.
So how can a minority partner in local participate with y'all? What is the process?
Pardon? Oh yeah, no. If you are interested in something like that,
Not me, but we were
Yeah,
contacted.
I met with a group.
Oh yeah.
And that group has expressed interest.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's very simple. If you have somebody that you want us to look at, we'll look at them. Absolutely.
Okay.
We work for the city, and so if you have a partner that you would like for us to work with, we can evaluate and provide recommendations based off of that.
And you may have already answered, in just a short version, what type of risk assessment will the city get?
That could be a long answer.
No, just a short version.
No, in terms of there's several different areas that you can go through. Some of it is doing property inspections, identifying what is your property risk, doing fleet gap analysis on your automobiles in terms of are there opportunities to lessen auto accidents, workers' comp, slip, trip, and falls. We have an entire the second slide in here talked about, or the third slide talked about improving the risk profile. We review your historical data, step one, and then we actually will discuss with city manager, mayor, council members, identify and develop what's called a risk map, a heat map to identify, hey, where are your biggest concerns of risk? And from there, we identify where are the areas that we want to get involved in first. It's kind of a triaging.
A good example is the city of Hayfield has been a client for a while of taking a look at, you're right next to a very large airport. What are the exposures that we have being next to a large airport? And if there was a major incident that happened there, what's the impact to your city and your budget? So we will analyze that.
And will we get this like on the start, when y'all get started?
Yes.
Will you provide us a risk
Yes.
assessment?
Correct. It'll be documented, and we will document all the services that we provide. We'll tell you what we're gonna do for you, then once we do it, we're gonna recap what we did for you.
And may I recommend that we need asset management. I don't know that we have that. I mean, I think things could just go out of here. We don't know what's what. Is that?
We can help tackle in terms of your assets. If you have a fixed asset report, we will review it, and we'll
By department, okay?
It's fine. We'll, whatever you want to take, it'll be on green paper. We'll take a look at it and assess, should we insure these buildings or structures or infrastructure? Or should we self-insure it, or even is it insurable? So that's part of what our due diligence that we do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We'll move on to discussion of the consent agenda.
you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Any questions for Ms. Miller on item 3A, which is replacement of the digital room display information system at the Georgia International Convention Center? Councilman Clay?
Yeah, I got my one question answered, and, but I do want to pass the answer along, and that was, if for some reason we use a different selection mechanism for, how should I say it, bookings and so forth. The booking mechanism interfaces with these pieces of equipment. And so my concern was, well, what happens if we change the booking mechanism? Will the booking mechanism that we use in place of it, will that work with this equipment? And the answer was yes. So I'm good. But I wanted to repeat that because I thought that was a major concern. This is a big investment, and I don't want it to be obsoleted because all of a sudden we decide we want different type of booking software or what have you. Did I say that right? Okay.
Councilman Carn, any questions?
All right, so this is the new set for everywhere. Now, I remember we've gone through, I guess this will be the third reincarnation since the original lime green dot matrix that we originally had, right?
What, the lime green is kind of the frame for the digital boards.
Okay, because I remember we opened it with, you opened the center with one type of deal, and that's long gone, because I remember there was another upgrade we approved at some point or another. My big worry about this is just warranty, what kind of warranty, and what's the expense of software upgrades when we ultimately look for the upgrades and the upgrades racket starts going. What's that going to cost us?
There is a year warranty with this, and afterwards, if we want the warranty afterwards, it's about $39,000. That was part of our problem with the last software we got. We bought the new technology and the new software, but they didn't have any upgrades, and we didn't pay for any warranties. And I think that when you spend this amount of money, that you should get a warranty for what you spend it on.
Okay, so the warranty, you said it's going to cost $39,000?
Approximately.
Is that each and every year, or is that a one-time?
That's after the first year.
So how long does that $39,000 take us?
Hold on, do you mind if I bring?
Well, I'd like to, if it's, yeah, I'd like to know what it is, if it's only 1 year, or if it's a 5-year or 10-year. I'm hoping it's, hoping it's more than 1 year.
$39,000 is per year. But
per year.
that include, if anything is torn up, they come out to repair it, they fix it, they doctor on it, and right now we didn't get this with the last system.
Okay.
So anytime those systems needed repair, we had to do them in-house. And I think that's a mistake when you spend this amount of money for a building our size.
Oh, I agree. I don't know why we wouldn't get the warranty the last time, but we probably should have. But so the $39,000 that covers the software upgrades too, and we have to, that's all in cost.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Councilman Allen?
We talked this afternoon. I appreciate the upgrades. That's neat. You attend more conventions than any, or your team, I guess, and you all know what we're looking for and what we need. So I defer to you all's expertise on this, but thank you very, very much for answering the questions earlier.
Councilman Gay?
No question.
Thank you, sir. Both items 3B and 3C are of the Public Works variety. So if there are questions for Mr. Lewis on either one of these, we will go ahead and start with Councilman Clay.
I'm just glad we're getting the work done, Tim.
Thank you. How y'all doing today?
I have no question. It all makes sense to me.
All right, Councilman Carn?
Hey, Tim, I didn't have anything on this one. How soon will it be done? besides that?
Are they gonna put us on the schedule, and I'll keep you guys updated once they start.
Okay. All right.
Councilman Allen?
No questions.
Councilman Gay?
The only question I have is, it's not related to these three, but the repair on, but Janice, is that gonna be done in-house, or we gonna use an on-call contract?
We actually working on that now. We done made it 3 taps, and we just waiting on the material. Yeah, we made it 3 taps on Yates Road.
Thank you.
Hey, Tim, one other question. So with the 36-inch pipe, is there some reason why our on-calls, is the federal EC, are they one of the on-calls, or?
No, sir. What we're gonna do, instead of tearing the street up, they're gonna come out and put like a coating on the inside.
Okay, so this is the reason why our 2 on-calls, they don't have this in there, they don't have the abilities to do this?
No, sir.
A lot more complex.
Okay, all right.
All right. So that concludes our workshop session. We will see everyone at 7:30.
Right.